Hi, class and professor. The topic that my group will be working on is anorexia. Anorexia is a psychological illness with devastating physical consequences. Anorexia is characterized by low body weight and body image distortion with an obsessive fear of gaining weight, which manifests itself through depriving the body of food. It often coincides with increased levels of exercise. There are two main subtypes of anorexia. The first type being the restricted type. This is the most commonly known type of anorexia, whereby a person severely restricts their food intake. Restriction may take many forms. One would be maintaining a very low calorie count, or restricting the types of food eating and maybe eating only one meal a day. These also are followed by an obsessive and rigid rules, such as only eating food of one color. The second type is binge eating or purging, which is less recognized. A person restricts their intake as previously mentioned, but during some bouts of restriction, the person has regularly engaged in binge eating or purging. And this example of this is self-induced vomiting, overexercise, misuse of laxative, diuretics, or enemas. Anorexia, according to the DSM-5 criteria, requires a person to display one, persistent restriction of energy intake leading to significantly low body weight. The second one being either an intense fear of gaining weight or becoming fat, or persistent behavior that interferes with weight gain. The third is a disturbance in the way one's body weight or shape is experienced, undue influence of body shape and weight on self-evaluation, or persistent lack of recognition of the seriousness of the current low body weight. There are several warning signs for someone experiencing anorexia. Before I give you the warning signs, I kind of wanted to share with you through my research. I found a story about a young lady named Amy, and the story talks about her battle with the disease anorexia, and I'll share that with you. So Amy's story goes as follows. She states that life with an eating disorder, if you can really call it life, is similar to a puppet show. You are dancing and smiling, and your disorder is the puppeteer. It calls the shots and pulls the strings. It tells you when you're going to eat and how much. It even writes the script, putting its own values where yours used to be. All of a sudden, you don't take care of your health, your friends, or your dreams. All you care about is being thin, and you don't even really know how it happened, when, or why. So there you go, smiling as your bony body bounces around on stage, the clap at your slenderness, while most stare in horror at what you've become. They don't know that you go backstage and cry because you're tired, hungry, and scared. Amy said that it's funny because she considered herself a very educated, intelligent, and beautiful and successful woman. A few years ago, she was trapped with an eating disorder. It started out simple in high school with the desire to be thin, and ended up as a powerful inner self-loathing, endless mental battle. She slowly began to lose not only her weight, but her reality, her mind, her friends, as well as anything that she cared and loved. Anorexia had 100% control over her and her life. She was no longer Amy. She was an eating disorder, a lying, destructive, conniving eating disorder. It was an out-of-body experience. She felt a loss of control so intense that she can't even imagine behaving that way currently. The eating disorder was there for her, protecting her from the uncontrollable world. It was her coping mechanism for handling her emotional distress and feeling unloved and unworthy. Then when idle time crept up and control was slipping, she became a ravenous animal and ate everything in sight, only to purge it all out immediately after. She would weigh her self-worth in pounds. Amy then states, for a while, I was in denial. Everyone's just jealous of my self-control to be thin. one time while in high school during the middle of my biology class, the principal came, took me aside, and told me my mom was outside ready to take me to the Children's Hospital Eating Disorder Program. But I was under 18, so she could do this. I was horrified and wasn't going to let it happen, so I lied to the doctors. She was in tears and looked tired and defeated, but I felt triumphant. My attitude was, we can talk about change, but I'm not ready to make changes. After all, my original motivation for going into treatment was to appease my parents. Thankfully, my lying worked and I didn't have to go through with it. So Amy had a really difficult time throughout high school with anorexia. And the story goes on to tell you about how she managed anorexia and how she was able to overcome her illness. And I'll just give you a brief snippet of what Amy talks about in regards to how she manages. Amy talks about telling someone who she trusts about her recovery process and having those people hold her accountable for her recovery. Something else that she also did would write little sticky notes that she would put around her room, her pillow, her jacket, wherever she could, to remind herself of certain things. Some of the stickies would read, "You are worth it. I'm proud of you. You are beautiful." Amy also stated that she made small goals. She wrote them down one day at a time and made plans to change different things. She tried responding positively to her mistakes. And she also was able to determine what some of her triggers were. And once she was able to determine what her triggers were, she was able to also determine how she would handle them. Amy would also reflect on her future and what her dreams were and kind of use that as motivation to keep her propelling forward as well. Through her bout with anorexia, she also suffered from some anxiety. Amy would leave the room of an environment that became stressful for her. Amy will also listen to different motivational audiobooks that would assist her as well. So there are several signs of anorexia. And I'm going to read you a few. One being the preoccupation with body shape, weight, and or appearance, intense fear of gaining weight, the preoccupation with food or food-related activities, negative or distorted body image, perceiving self to be fat when at a healthy weight, low self-esteem, rigid thinking, feeling out of control, mood swings, anxiety or depression, heightened anxiety around mealtimes, heightened sensitivity to comments or criticism about body shape, weight, appearance, eating, or exercise habits, suicidal or self-harm thoughts or behaviors. A few other signs are constant or repetitive dieting, restrictive or rigid eating patterns, excessive or compulsive exercise, changing in clothing style, impaired school or work performance, obsessive rituals around food, changes in food preferences, frequent avoidance of eating meals or finding excuses not to eat, and also social withdrawal, avoidance, or social situation involving food, restrictive or obsessive body checking behaviors, and deceptive or secretive behaviors around food. Anorexia is more common in girls and women. However, boys and men have increasingly started developing eating disorders, possibly related to the growing social pressures. Anorexia is also more common among teenagers. Still, people of any age can develop this eating disorder, though it is rare in those over 40. Teens may be more at risk because of all the changes their body goes through during puberty. They may also face increased peer pressure and become more sensitive to criticism or even casual comments about weight or body shape. The complications with anorexia. Anorexia may have numerous complications, and it is most severe and it can be fatal. Death may occur suddenly, even when someone is not severely underweight. This may result from abnormal heart rhythms or arrhythmias, or an imbalance of electrolytes, minerals such as sodium, potassium, and calcium that maintain the balance of fluid in your body. Other complications of anorexia include anemia, heart problems such as mitral valve prolapse, abnormal heart rhythms, and heart failure. bone loss or osteoporosis, a loss of muscle, in females, absence of a period, and males, decreased testosterone, and also electrolyte abnormalities and kidney problems. If a person with anorexia becomes severely malnourished, every organ in the body can be damaged, including the brain, heart, and kidneys. This damage may not be fully reversible even when anorexia is under control. In addition to the host of physical complications commonly have, other mental illness disorders, mental health disorders may accompany this eating disorder as well, such as depression, obsessive compulsive disorder, alcohol, and substance misuse. Anorexia is an extremely serious eating disorder, which should not be ignored. I hope you guys enjoyed this video presentation. Thank you.